Hey guys, Ian here, aka Hura Mantra. Welcome to my channel and to another video. Now I don't know how well this video is going to turn out because I'm out walking, as you can see, and it's quite windy, and yeah, that can sometimes play havoc with the sound quality. But as I was walking, there were a few thoughts that came to me, and I thought, well, let's go ahead, make a little video. Well, today I want to talk about the esoteric concepts of working at the astral and mental levels. Now, if you are a student on a spiritual path, you'll know what I mean when I say that. If you're not, then I'll just sort of explain a little bit. That in the path of the Western mystery tradition, meditation and spiritual development often involves working at different levels of consciousness, and two of those levels are the astral level and the mental level. Now, let's just start off by defining a little bit of what they are. So, in previous videos, I've talked about the astral as being that place that we enter through our visual imagination, but which is vast, which goes up from the valley floor of a visual imagination to realms that we can't conceptualize as human beings, because the astral is the template on which all creation, all manifest creation, exists. If we look on the tree of life, Kabbalistic tree of life, okay, we'll see that the astral realm, or the astral light, is associated with the Sephira of Yesod, foundation. And so this tells us that all things that exist in manifest creation also exist at the astral level. If we look at the Kabbalistic understanding of the structure of the soul, which I talked about in a previous video, we'll see that the aspect of soul associated with Malkut, which is manifest existence, and Yesod, the realm of formation, is the lowest aspect of soul, Nefesh. So from that we see that our work in the astral is limited in some respects, because it's one Sephira, Yesod. Also, Nefesh, the Nefesh aspect of our soul, is bound to the body and the imagination. So that which we cannot imagine, that which is outside of our conceptual abilities in the manifestation, is also beyond us in our astral experience. So the easiest way to sort of put this is to say that we can't experience what we can't imagine. We can't move outside of the limitations of that which we can conceptualize. Now, another thing that confirms this to me is if you look at the astrological associations with Yesod, and it's the moon. Now, we know, don't we, that the moon is bound to the earth. Where the earth goes, the moon must follow. It doesn't have an orbit of its own. And this is like us in the astral. Our astral experience, in so many ways, is bound to our experience in the physical world. It's constrained, our astral experience. It must be so, okay, because it occurs in the visual imagination, which is the arena of the mind. Okay, so when we are working in the astral realm, the astral light, our workings will probably tend to be linear. They may be random, but they will always be within something that we already know and experience. Now, what I mean by that is our learning in the astral will come through representations of things that have meaning to us already. Signs, symbols, characters, environments. And that's how we make sense. We make sense of things, even those things that we think are beyond our normal experience. We make sense of them through things that are within our normal experience. Sorry, I'm cutting off half my head here. Now, if we look at the mental level, which is the level above the astral level, we're looking at something very, very different here. So the first thing I want to point out is, and I've said this before, that the word mental is a little bit confusing, because when we think of the word mental, we probably think of thoughts and thinking. Well, yes, thoughts and thinking are part of mental processes, but we have to realize that thoughts and thinking are only activities of mind. They are not mind themselves. So when we talk about the mental level, we are not talking about the level of thought and thinking. We are talking about the level at which exists mind, of which thoughts and thinking are but activities. So what then is mind? Well, I would say that mind is consciousness. The consciousness that manifests thoughts and thinking in this physical world in which we live, in this life which we experience. Now, if we look at that, if we look at the mental level on the tree of life, we will see that it's not associated with one sephira, but the mental level is associated with the world of Bria, which covers Hesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzer, and Hod. So we're looking at a completely different level when we are working at the mental level. Right, where was I? Lost my train of thought here. Yes, working at the level of consciousness. Now, for quite a while, I had some difficulty in distinguishing, well, what is the difference in my practical experience? What is the difference between working at the astral level and the mental level? And what I've come to understand is this, that whereas in the astral level, I work through the form of, as I've said, images, scenarios, characters, pictures, symbols, in the mental level, it isn't like that. In the mental level, for me, it is more of like a direct experience. It's more of a download. So instead of working up to an understanding of something, it's like that understanding just arrives. Now, I'm sure you know what I mean, you guys, if you're on a spiritual path. Sometimes there are moments, when you have those just flashes of illumination, of inspiration, and you don't know where it came from, but you see something with absolute clarity. You feel as if you are connected to something in a way that you have never been connected before, and it's momentary and it flashes into your existence and then it's gone. And what you are left with then is trying to make sense of that, trying to understand, to take down from that flash of illumination into your working mind and into your working understanding. What does it mean? What is that truth that you just saw? What is it? And then you represent it to yourself in a way that you can understand. Now, I would say, that is where you've entered the mental level, where you've entered the level of unstructured consciousness, where you know all these things. All these things are known to you at that level. And then what you do, you bring it back down, and the minute you start thinking of it in concepts, where you may have images in your mind, and you might say, it means this, it's a bit like, or what this is telling me is, and you might see an image, you might think of a scenario or a circumstance, then you bring in mental level experience down into visual imagination, into astral level experience. And this is how it works. This is why we can't stay at the mental level, because it would overload our conscious mind. It would overload our tools of thought and thinking. So what we do, we touch the mental level and then we return. Now there's a wonderful, wonderful experience of this. It's a description of this in the Sefer Yetzirah, the Book of Creation, where it talks about this as running and returning. It talks about us touching these higher Sephira, just touching them, right? Having a flash of exposure, but then having to come back. So this is what happens when we reach the mental level, we touch it, we return, and we bring back that which we have experienced, because that's what it is. It's an experience, an immersive experience, which we then bring back and try and make some sense of. And our goal, I guess, is to increase our ability to spend time in the mental level or at the mental level without burning our minds. Anyway, look, I'm really sorry about the quality of this video because it must be shocking and I don't even know what the sound's going to be like yet. But I just wanted to speak to you, wanted to get something out there. And you know me, when it occurs to me, I have to make a video. So yeah, well, I'm going to stop now. And thanks for listening. See you guys soon. Bye.